Good morning and good evening to Reena. She's here with us today. My name is Susie Box, and I am with The Short of It. I am the editor and publisher of the volumes that we produce after we have the features on The Short of It. And it's basically micro poetry and micro writing. It's very tight and succinct writing that I enjoy tremendously. And I have found so much talent out there on the web and decided I wanted to share them with the rest of the world. So let me introduce Reena. She's with us for the first time. She has, we featured her on the, hold on, let me find her. We featured her on The Short of It, let's see, November of last year, November 18th. Lovely pieces she submitted, and I'm really happy to have her here with us today. She is a former banker, coach, and writer from Mumbai. She has published works available on Amazon, which I will put in the link below so that you can, if you're interested, which I'm sure you will be, to read more of her work. She has two books, one called When, or more than that maybe, When Time Stopped. It's a fiction piece, compendium poetry anthology. Life as It Happens is another poetry anthology, and also Basic Banking for Debt Recovery Agents and ebooks on money psychology available on the Money Goals website. Again, I will link everything for you so you can find out a little bit more about Reena's rich life. Again, first feature ever on The Short of It, and I'm so happy that she finally decided to participate with us because we have interacted with each other, I believe, since the very beginning, since 2017, when I first got on in December of 2017. I think I pegged one of your blogs right away to start reading. Is that correct? Do you remember maybe?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Susie.
You're welcome.
I remember I started by participating in your challenge. You used to have a haiku challenge on Tuesdays.
Yes. I had the, what was it?
Right.
I can't remember. Do you remember the name of it? It's been so long since I stopped doing that. It was Perceptions, I believe, or Impressions. I wanted to get everybody's impressions.
Which I remember it was a haiku challenge, and I was not very good at counting syllables. I was just beginning at that time on syllable poetry.
Okay. So now have you warmed up to it more?
Writing has always been a hobby since school and college days, but never actively pursued, not professionally at least. Then I got into banking, which is a very hardcore, different kind of profession.
Yeah.
Finally, I happened to quit the job in 2015, and then I pursued a lot of other courses, and I have become basically a financial coach, a trainer, and a writer, if I can call myself that.
I think so.
So poetry was always there. Like, I have been a creative person, basically. Okay, write a little, paint. If I have to lay the table or if I have to plate a meal, I would do it in a certain way. Do up the house on festivals, on whatever like that. But when the WordPress blog, if I remember right, it started in 2016 with articles on finance and personal branding.
Okay, that was
I
before
just
my
had
time.
28 followers. Yeah,
oh,
just
wow.
28 followers. And then somehow I got into these writing prompts, participating in the challenges. And then I can't say 3,200 is a great number, but still I feel proud that I have moved from 28 to that number, 90% because of participating in writing challenges. And it is here that I developed an interest in and actually learned syllable poetry. Otherwise, I was aware of haiku. That's it. Haiku and tanka were the two formats I knew. Then, of course, I learned a lot of others. And now I constantly experiment. What I like about it, okay, free verses, free flowing, good. But once you start doing syllable poetry, you need to put a structure in it. So to put a structure, you have to delete certain things, you have to add certain things. And then it helped me, all other things, the financial content that I was doing, or even the flash fiction, or whatever. See, the way WordPress has helped me is, first, whatever I used to write was me. The protagonist was always me, my views coming across. And then I started looking at other characters as the protagonist. I was able to get into somebody else's shoes and write on their behalf. So I would give all credit to this WordPress blog for my evolution as a writer.
Oh, I would agree with you
And you have been a
100%.
part of it.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy that we were able to connect on WordPress. I have really met so many interesting individuals, and I'm really thrilled about that. I'm more of a loner, and I prefer to be, I don't collaborate very often, but I do enjoy all the relationships and the connections that I've met here because you guys have given me so much. You have no idea. Inspiration, knowledge, education. There's an unbelievable volume amount of information that I have gotten, and to be able to challenge myself. And I know that like you said, the haikus, you didn't know about the syllabic, you are learning about it. I did the same thing the very first year because I never like went to school for poetry. I didn't really know why I was drawn to poetry, and I began to understand the mechanics of it through reading other people's works. So I definitely am so there with you on that one. It's been a wonderful experience for me, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. My question to you though is, during your journey, did you also figure out what is your favorite style? What do you like the most about what, I mean, I know you're still learning, but is there one that you gravitate towards, or a type?
I think my favorite would be Taka in the sequin format.
Okay,
5
Taka,
lines.
Tanka.
So, and Shadurma.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, Shadormis, yeah. I haven't really focused on those, but
yeah.
Tankas, yeah, I like those too. Sometimes it's a little
Taka,
difficult.
add a line to it. There are so many variations on that format. I feel
Mhm.
Taka gives me more scope to say whatever I want to say. Haiku becomes a too shorter thing, and then
Mhm.
you have to put in that nature word and other things. What I may be writing is not always about nature. I write more about what's happening inside here in the human mind rather
Right.
than what's happening out in the world out there.
Well, you're a
So
strong
free
you're a
verse
strong
and
force
Taka.
of nature. I'm sorry, I cut you off, but I was going to say, I find one of the things,
No.
especially since you have the other websites too about the empowered woman, isn't that yours too? Don't
Yeah,
you?
empowered
Yeah,
woman is mine.
right. I think that it
Mhm.
does come across very well that you have a very strong opinion about things. Even in your writing, you can see it, that you have a distinctness about you. One question I had for you though, when you said that you tried, not just you always being the protagonist, have you ever written poetry from the perspective of a man?
Not yet.
Okay, because I
Maybe
was
just one or two pieces on International Men's Day or something like that, but
okay.
no serious writing on that front.
Okay, because I was challenged to do that, and I tried one piece, and I actually thought that I was able to kind of get the perspective of the other person, of a different gender, but I don't know how well I succeeded because obviously I'm not. I'm
I've
not a
written
man at all.
articles on that.
Hmm.
I have not written a poem. I have written articles on that because sometimes I see them as a pretty confused lot. India is still an evolving society. People are still transitioning from patriarchy to a modern perspective. At times, they don't really understand what's expected of them. I see it with the men around me, and that is what I have written about.
Interesting. Well, do you
And
think
the safety I feel on WordPress is it's very non judgmental.
yes, I
I
would
have
agree
got
with
trolled
you.
on Medium for writing a Women's Day piece. Social media, of course, you can get trolled anytime, but WordPress appears to be a very safe and a non judgmental space.
I would agree. And I think it's also because we gravitate to the type of people who are very empathic as well as compassionate about the world around them. At least that's what
Right.
I found, the people that I have hooked up with. But I was just curious, when you say they haven't gotten there yet, the patriarchy is changing, obviously it is transitioning, but how much longer must we wait?
You are so right.
I just I'm so frustrated here.
Financial independence has
Mhm.
certainly helped.
Yeah.
Once the girls are doing well on their own, they are not too keen to get married earlier. In our times, the norm used to be you have to be married before you're 30. It's no longer so.
Right.
They may choose a live-in relationship, or they may choose not to get married at all. So those things are certainly changing. But
Mhm.
overall, the previous generation and men sometimes do get confused about the signals they are getting. They don't really know how to respond to the changes well.
Yeah, unfortunately, but they'll get there, I hope. Maybe not in my lifetime, but being here in the United States, we live in Kansas, which is a very conservative and sadly going backwards a little bit with respect to the laws that they're trying to pass. I mean, you know, the whole abortion debacle that's going on here right now. It's it's just sad. It's really sad. And it's hard to be a woman in this type of environment, but you know, especially when you've got your own opinions and your own way of life. So sadly, what are you going to do? I live here because I love it. The country is beautiful. I don't know what's like where you are at and in Mumbai, but here I really appreciate the openness and fields, grasses, you know, I live amongst the farmers and it's beautiful countryside. So I don't know that I want to leave it right away, but we're getting there. We're up there in retirement age. One of these days we're going to end up on a beach. How about you? Where are you going to retire?
I'm working on my own for the last 6 or 7 years, so I don't see retirement as such happening.
Oh,
I can, and the reason I prefer writing is that there's no age limit for this. You can continue to write as long as you live.
that's
So
true.
when the day job ends, writing and painting become a full-time occupation for me.
Oh, you enjoy painting as well. What's your medium? What do you prefer?
Yeah.
Watercolor,
I
oil?
do knife painting
Oh,
and
wow.
folk art, what I do with the tribal art kind of things.
Oh, very nice. Well, you're gonna have you put
And
any of that
knife
on your
painting
website?
where we don't really use a brush.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
may have used some paintings as a picture in some of the pieces there.
I would be interested for you to send me links to those because unfortunately, I don't read everybody's work. I do try to get as much as I can in, but I may have missed whatever you have posted. I would love to see it because I enjoy art tremendous. I find that most writers do. I don't know about you, but most writers are also very creative. They like to either make crafts, do crafts, paint, and you know, photography is another good one. It's a great complement to writing sometimes. I love what VJ Newton does with her work. I don't know, are you familiar with VJ?
I can send you some pictures. Yeah, what you see behind me is done by me, though they are very simple ones.
Oh, very nice.
Because
Excellent.
I
Yeah.
do online training sessions and we are not supposed to put very complicated pieces behind us so that it
Yeah.
doesn't distract. So I've chosen the simplest one out here. So I can just email you a few of them
Yeah, that'd
if
be
you are
great.
interested in the samples.
Yes, please. I would appreciate you sending those to me. My other question to you, before I ask you to pick one of the poems that was selected for the Reflections and Revelations book, Volume 2. I probably should go into that a little bit more too, but let me know which one it is that you wanted to read today.
I've got a copy of that here. The one I've chosen is Liar Mirrors.
Okay, good.
Do I have permission to share the page?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Feel free to share it. You can let people know about the interview. I'll send you a link to of it so that everybody's aware that you and I spoke today. And yeah, definitely let everybody know. This way we can build a little of enthusiasm for volume 2. Sound of Brilliance did well too. And I'm really happy that volume 2 is pulling together really well. Everybody's
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate the fact that the title does reflect what is inside the pages. Uh, as poets and as writers, all of you have really tapped into the emotional side of humanity, and I love what came out of it. So I'm really happy about the second one, probably maybe even more so than the first one, just because it's just got a really sensitive touch to it. Shoot, now I forgot where I was going to go with that next thought. Darn it. Okay, well, maybe I'll come back to it. Who knows? But I wanted to ask you, hold on, let me see now. This is your very first time. So are you going to be submitting again? Because July 1st is going to be the submission opening, July 1st. So one of the things that I'm changing on this, I wanted to make you aware, is that we have 52 slots. And as soon as we hit 52 acceptances, I'm closing submissions, because I'm the only person who's doing this. So I want to make sure that, because I only do this once a week with the features, we had an overwhelming response last time, and it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger. So I'm cutting it off at 52. So get your submissions in early is basically what I'm trying to say.
Sure. I'll do that.
Okay, good. All right. Would you please, liar mirrors? You've got the floor, my dear.
Okay. Sure. I'm reading it. Liar mirrors. Change seeps in imperceptibly, entrenches itself in deep psyche layers. Mirrors lie with the same face. The
Now tell.
philosophy with which I go is that we know only the history of a person. I know what I've known about you in the last 5 years. I don't really know what is changing inside you at this moment. So it's not only about you, quite a lot is changing inside me. Whereas the mirror and the screen shows me the same face.
Yeah.
But inwardly, we are always changing, and the process is very imperceptible. We don't realize what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
That was the core behind this one.
Yeah, that's a really good observation, because yes, it can be incrementally, and we don't know unconsciously how certain variables affect us, things that come at us that we just minute changes or situations can affect us in ways that we're not. It's so imperceivable sometimes. Like if you watch, yeah, I mean, I'll give you a really.
You ourselves in different ways.
Say that again?
Yeah, please.
No, I didn't hear what you just said.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, I was saying at different stages of life, our perspectives about ourselves and the world around us keeps on changing.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. And I would agree with you 100%. We have to, though, because it's not like we're just static. There's things that we are being bombarded with at all times. And even those that we unconsciously take on board, we don't realize how they could be changing us as well. And then you sit back and you think about it and you're like, oh, yeah, I remember that catalyst. Okay, that makes sense. But sometimes you don't even have that insight available to you. Sometimes it just, you change. Things just occur and you can't explain why. That's life, I think. What are you going to do?
Shall I combine it with the International Women's Day slogan for this year? Embrace equity.
Embrace a what?
So that means it's not about equality. Embrace equity.
Oh, embrace equity. Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
hashtag embrace equity. So they are differentiating it from equality. They say give each person what they want. So, okay, that's about from a gender perspective, but even for ourselves or the people around us, they should have what they want at different stages in life.
Absolutely. I would agree with you.
Maybe in the early parts of life, one wants a partner, and going ahead, you just want to be alone. You love your solitude at some point. That should be respected. The rules can't remain the same.
I would agree with you. I think you need to make that one of the Reena's exploration challenges. One of the prompts. Embrace equity should be your slogan there.
Yeah.
And see how other people really
My
think.
next one.
Yeah, I think so. That would be a good one. What I love, I mean, you see that I generally put those together with Eugenia's, because I have so many different projects that I want to put in on my blog on a daily basis, and I only try to blog once a day. but I love sometimes when you and Eugenia have the most compatible prompts. It's amazing. I love what comes out of that. So I do thank you for that, because you give me such creative notions to just dwell on, and I love that. So thank you for that. But tell me more about what are your goals with your money goals site? I like that. Is that your full-time job, or what do you, is that just something you gravitated towards?
Money goals is it's about financial literacy. So I've got some video courses. I do online training cases,
Okay.
more so for children and teenagers. The age
Oh,
groups can range from 6 to 18 years, so that they are well grounded from the beginning. And then there are the ones I have done for women who have never taken an interest in finances. Here we have so many of them saying, my husband handles it. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's insurance. I don't know what's a mutual fund.
nice.
So giving them the basic ground, and then for those who want to go ahead and want a full-time plan, I have got a panel of experts whom I refer them to, and they can get their financial planning done by them. That is what I do in Money.
Very
And of
nice.
course, there's a blog where I put up an article every week.
So may I ask what prompted you to actually do that, though? I mean, what was your motivation for it? Did you have some like an internal desire to educate people, or just it was something that, coming from the banking world, obviously you had knowledge about and you wanted to share it, or what was the motivation for that?
It was the idea of teaching or something. I have always done training sessions, even during my banking career.
Okay.
All that, once it evolved into a full-time thing, then this is the competence I could find. I have done image consultancy courses, I've done coaching, and then I found combining coaching and training from a personal finance perspective comes to like putting all my talents together, and I could easily find a market for that
Excellent. That's
because
good.
of that expertise of 25 years that lies behind me.
Well, do you think too that with the country changing or evolving a little bit differently, it might actually be a boon to your area too? Is that why you had success with it? Just because the way things are changing about women's or perception of women's roles in society, is that part of why you're able to have some success with women?
See, women's role in society changes only when they become financially independent,
Mm-hmm.
because all of them may not be given the right to manage their husband's money.
Yeah.
All that. Once they start earning their own, then you have to teach them not only to invest, but to protect your money
Mm-hmm.
and put aside something so that in case of a crisis of any kind, it could be old age, it could be a divorce, it could be anything, they have
Yeah.
something to fall back on. Because the
Yeah.
culture even says that you earn and give it to your family. So that is what I teach them not to do. Keep your money as your own
Right.
entirely.
So you're helping furthering the cause is basically one of your motivations
Right.
too. Good for you. Yeah, I recall, I'm not so old that, or so young that I don't remember, even my mom, I remember in 72, 73, they weren't even allowed, like, before that time period here in the United States, they weren't allowed to have credit cards in their name. They weren't allowed to own a house unless they were on their own. It had to be held in by the husband. So yes, 1970 was pretty recent. That was only what, 40 years ago, 60 years ago? No, wait a minute. 40 years ago? I didn't do the math right.
Even where it was held in their name, they were just signing on the dotted line. They were not
Right,
aware of what they were doing.
right. And they weren't
Women
allowed,
get a lot of concessions. The husbands do invest in the wife's name.
right. But I remember my mom couldn't even
Maybe
have
a
her own
higher
savings
interest rate.
account. Oh, I'm sorry. We keep overlapping with each other. I'll shut up. Go ahead.
No. I think we are on the same lines. We are saying the same things, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it needs to change. It needed to change, and I'm glad that it did. But unfortunately, like I said, in the United States, I feel like it's going backwards here, especially in Kansas. It's the viewpoints that I encounter if I leave the house are just unbelievable. Sometimes I just stay in my house so I don't have to deal with some of the conservative views that I hear around here, but it's crazy. What are you
Are
going to do?
you referring to abortion issues?
It's not just the abortion issues. It's we have a whole bunch of book burning or book banning issues going on. People seem to want to go backwards with respect to knowledge and just being progressive, and transgender is a huge issue over here right now. People are so not wanting to accept the science that things are not the way they learned. You know, we have the science is telling us that they're in our bodies, the things that we have defined based on what we knew at the time is changing, because there are radical differences between the norms, and people just don't want to accept that around here. So there's a lot of gay bashing, a lot of transgender bashing, a lot of like, for instance, there's these laws that they would like to get through about not having trans people reading library books to children. It's like, I don't know. I don't understand it.
Oh.
I don't understand. It's the only thing I can think of is that people are just very fearful of newer knowledge or better understanding of knowledge about this particular subject. They're just so afraid of deviating from this little box that they've put people in. You're like, you're a man, you're a woman, you look like a man, you are a woman, whatever. No, there's more to this. And it's like, educate yourself, people. And we just don't have that. We have a fear of education, I think, sadly. And I try not to get too political about my viewpoints about this, but it is frustrating to live in the state of Kansas, like, because of that. But what are you going to do? Just keep talking
We
about
have
it.
got these issues around surrogate motherhood,
Oh,
because there are many celebrities who have opted for surrogate. So I think the laws will need to change, like it happened with cyber laws when the internet came in. They had to change the laws to a large extent. So it will ultimately come to gender change and the surrogate laws, because so far establishing parental rights, there's a lot of gray area in between, which is not covered by law.
Yeah. So you're saying that there's a lot of women who are opting for surrogacy rather than giving birth? And there is
Yeah, all those who can afford it.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So they can go around their careers, and meanwhile somebody else can carry the child.
Okay. Which I would have thought that at least here, no, I was going to say here, at least I think that surrogacy is an option, and we have a lot of laws surrounding that as far as payment, medical, I guess, taking care of the women that are deemed to be the surrogates. And I think each state has their own different laws about how to handle that. But I think it's an accepted practice. It's not something that's thought of as something that's not acceptable. I do think that it is a pretty acceptable practice here, because there's so many people. I mean, infertility is such a huge problem here too, across the world as well. So I think that if they want to continue the human race, and people can't have children for whatever infertility issues, then you're going to have options, you know.
Right.
But anyway, I was going to say, I've got to wrap it up now, but thank you so much for spending time with me this morning, or this evening with you, because I've always wanted to put a face to the comments and the conversations that we've had. I've again formulated my own opinion of you, and you have made it come true, because I can see that you're a very strong, powerful woman. And I appreciate that, because I gravitate towards women who are very confident and a force of nature. So thank you for being that. And thank you for letting me be a part of your prompts. I really do enjoy that.
Thank you for having me here, and the compliments you have showered in me.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're very welcome. And I really do hope that you're going to participate again with the short of it. I enjoy your writing. Please, please do.
So I'm gearing up for the next one. That's it.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, it was good to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming by and stopping by and
Thank
chatting
you.
with me today. Thanks, Reena.
Thanks. Bye.